Hello Cowboys Nation, welcome to another video, and without further ado, let's get to another round of news from America's team. Cowboys Micah Parsons contract extension talks get eye-opening update. The Dallas Cowboys have accomplished the majority of their major goals this offseason, but they still have one issue that needs to be resolved, and that's Micah Parsons' contract situation. With several of the other top pass rushers in the NFL receiving massive extensions over the past few months, Parsons has made it clear he wants a substantial raise, but to this point, no such deal has materialized. While there is still time for the two sides to head back to the negotiating table, the 2025 campaign is right around the corner. So what gives? Will Dallas and Parsons be able to find common ground on a potential extension? According to NFL insider Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, it sounds like a timeline for Parsons' contract negotiations has been set. Cowboys, Micah Parsons set to discuss contract during training camp. The Cowboys selected Parsons with the number 12 overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, and he immediately became one of the most disruptive defenders in the league. Parsons has been a Pro Bowler in each of his first 4 seasons, while also earning a spot on the All-Pro First Team twice and winning Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2021. It wasn't much of a surprise to see Dallas exercise the 5th-year option in Parsons' rookie contract last offseason, setting the stage for some very important contract extension talks. No deal was reached last offseason, and now that he's preparing to enter the final year of his rookie contract, it's clear that there's a sense of urgency for both sides to get something done. July has rolled around now, and Parsons still hasn't put pen to paper yet, with the messy negotiations spilling out into the public eye on several occasions, which has only made things worse. However, the Cowboys still want to keep Parsons in town, and it seems like he wants to remain in Dallas. With that in mind, Fowler believes that the two sides will head back to the negotiating table once training camp rolls around. So this is kind of a relaxed situation, Fowler said on SportsCenter. You know, when I talk to the people involved, they're like, look, it's a lull in the summer right now, not a lot going on. Once they reconvene for training camp, Dallas will probably lock in on this a little bit more. Typically, they do their deals late in the calendar, you know, late August, early September. We've seen that with CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, some of their other big deals. Cowboys will cut Dak Prescott, folk hero, backup in subtly smart prediction. One of the advantages of being a backup quarterback in the NFL. Do just a little something worthwhile, and don't screw anything up too badly. And you get to be a local folk hero. Will Grier surely recognizes how that is happening now with a bazooka, Joe Milton, and his big-armed athletic promise. Milton is suddenly the people's choice around here to serve at the backup to Dak Prescott. And Milton, based on our observation of OTAs and minicamp, seems to be the choice of the new Brian Schottenheimer-led coaching staff as well. Some are predicting a tight training camp competition between sudden number 2 QB Milton, acquired via trade this offseason, and Journeyman Grier, who was selected by the Carolina Panthers in the 3rd round of the 2019 NFL Draft. As we've explained here, Dallas having given up draft capital to land Milton can mean the front office wants to be right, and wants him to get and retain the job. We've predicted that he'll do so. The Athletic's John Machota adds on that he thinks the Cowboys will do so while only keeping 2 quarterbacks. This means Grier won't have a job when Dallas finalizes the team's final 53-man roster. And the logic is obvious and simple. Grier almost had a backup job won a couple of years ago, behind Dak and Cooper Rush, who is now with the Ravens. He performed impressively in a final preseason game and became that aforementioned local folk hero. But a few days later, the Cowboys' quarterback room changed when the team traded for Trey Lance in free agency. And that was the end of Grier here, for a while. He's hung on more recently and is well liked here inside the Star. But once the Cowboys were able to land Milton from the New England Patriots in a trade. Time for a new folk hero. As Machota writes, there's really not much to debate about here. Rush was a more experienced player, but Milton has the higher upside. And there is something else. If the Cowboys cut Milton, other teams might see that upside and that cheap contract and want to claim him. If the Cowboys cut Greer, it's a subtly smart thing to do because it's also an easy bet that he'll go unclaimed, and then boomerang back to Dallas to join the practice squad, and get a job here once again. Urgent Cowboys trade for Rams Corum Williams backup urged in proposal. Inarguably, the Dallas Cowboys acted with too little urgency to improve their offensive backfield a year ago. Once Tony Pollard left in free agency, the team reinstalled an aged Ezekiel Elliott and an inexperienced Rico Dowdle onto the top of the depth chart. Fast forward to today, and Zeke remains unsigned while Rico ended up producing solid numbers individually, and left for Carolina, and the fact that the Cowboys' rushing offense was far from a strength is now in the rearview mirror. But, all of that led to a complete overhaul in the offseason. Was there more urgency this time around? Dallas signed Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams during free agency before drafting Phil Mafah and Jaden Blue in April. One would think those moves give them a deep enough pool to construct their backfield and identify a solid number one. Just in case they are still searching for options, Daniel Arwas at Heavy.com has urged the Cowboys to explore a trade for another young running back. He identified Los Angeles Rams running back Blake Corum as the ideal target. Although Williams and Sanders are both recognizable names, both made their respective all-rookie teams, and Sanders was a Pro Bowler in 2022, the two combined for less than 800 yards in 2024, Arwas wrote. And that, in the case of Williams, was as the team's designated starter. Running back is, unfortunately for the pair, a young man's game, and Corum certainly still has his youth. Blue and Mafah were not widely acclaimed prospects coming out of college, so there's no guarantee they usurp the veterans at training camp. But does that all mean Dallas must add another player to the mix? Corum may be underutilized in Los Angeles, yet the Rams are one injury away from needing his services. At Corum Williams' usage rate, that grim possibility cannot be ruled out. The Cowboys should not, and need not, be in a rush to add any more pieces at least until they the full scope of what they have at training camp. Give your like, tell us your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the channel.